I was personal training and my expenses were very low.
Yeah.
Note to entrepreneurs, keep your expenses low as you're building.
Yep.
I was doing it just by default. I had to. So my rent was like, I was renting a room and sometimes I just slept in my car. So the room was like $300, $400 a month. And I'm on the floor. I didn't even have a bed. Like I couldn't really get a bed. Like everything was like so financially strained. And then from 2015 to 2017, I started online. And when I built the big online company, we went from 0 to $1 million in 6 months. Wow. So it was like, I was already making like 6 figures. I was doing some online stuff, and then I built RI28 with a partner at the time, and then we went from zero to $1 million in 6 months, and then from there it's just going crazy.
You know, people think the goal is just to make the money.
Yeah.
But then, like my mom always used to tell me, you can have anything, but can you maintain it?
Exactly.
And so money is so that's why when people tell me, oh, I just want to make a lot of money, I'm like, are you sure you want to make a lot of money? Because I can get you a lot of money right now. You're not going to keep it. Right. Keeping the money is the hard part. Making it's the easy part.
And I learned like my training was very systematic. And I used to tell people, I don't try to have the best burpee. I'm not trying to have the best curl. I need the best system to optimize my time on an hourly basis. And I only worked like 5-6 hours a day. Most trainers was in the gym 8 to 10 hours. And I didn't wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning because I wasn't a morning person. My training started at 9. There's an undercurrent to entrepreneurship that most people don't understand, especially if you're building from scratch. You don't have VC dollars. You're not raising capital. It's on you.
All right, yo, what up, y'all? We are back with another episode of the Winners Win podcast. Today, I know I say all the time, like, oh, I got a special guest. No, but I really got a special guest. I got my man, Mr. Gee Bryant.
Yes, sir.
I don't even know how to do like a proper intro because I feel like if I did an intro, it would almost like do a disservice. But I got Gee Bryant with me in the building, and we're going to have a dope conversation on Winners Win. I don't really know where this is going to go, but I'm just kind of like,
hey, we just decided to do this.
You understand what I'm saying? So I'm just kind of like, we just going to take it and just see what happens. So before we get too deep into it, man, just let everybody know, who is Gee Bryant?
Gee Bryant, man, that's a good question. Who is he? Well, I would say it depends on the season that he's in. Okay. Who he is, because I think as men, not to get too philosophical.
We just started.
I gotta let you know, man. We might. It depends. But no, honestly, entrepreneur. Built a few businesses in the health and wellness space. If you guys look them up, you'll see them. I'm really outside. I've been doing this for a long time, but also heavily motivated by personal growth, right, and personal fulfillment as you go on this entrepreneurship journey. And I think that's what's kept me going in my journey, you know what I'm saying? And we'll get a little bit more into that. So super entrepreneur, love business, love people, love serving, and just love being in the game, man.
What was your first step into entrepreneurship? What was like the first business that you started? Yeah, we got to talk about it. We here now. Yeah.
So my first step in entrepreneurship was as a kid. So that started out with like shoveling snow, cutting grass. I used to go out in the neighborhood and I would take bugs, put them in a shoebox, and sell them door to door for $5. I used to call them little habitats. In my neighborhood, I used to take peanut butter and jelly and bread out the crib, and I would go door to door with a blanket and ask my neighbors if they want to have picnics and charge $5, $10. And then when I realized it was working, I would get little kids to do it for me. And I had like little picnics going on. I would pay them $1 and I would keep like 8.
That's wild.
Yeah, so that was like my first, but I was always thinking about getting money as a child, because once you realize, you start to see certain things when you're young, like you ain't got it. Mm-hmm. I'm from Philadelphia, grew up in Germantown, and started realizing you just know it, you can kind of feel it as a kid. So I kind of felt that there were some things I was going to have to do. So I was always about trying to make it, as an entrepreneur. Then that progressed into my teens. I used to buy and sell cars, sell them on Craigslist. I used to buy Crown Vics, paint them black, sell them on Craigslist. And I have probably a lot of different ventures that I don't remember, and some other ventures too, that, are ventures.
Probably can't talk about.
Yeah, can't talk about those.
No, sorry. Yeah. And then, so that gave you the base to kind of say, all right, cool. Business is something that I like and I want to do. And I find out with a lot of entrepreneurs, like we all start early. We just those little kids that's always into something. You know what I'm saying?
What was yours?
Joe, I'm gonna tell you the first one, and it's a funny story. It's a crazy story. You can add, and like my parents, they tell this story to people to this day.
Yeah.
So, so my dad was in the military. He was in the Navy, and my uncle was in the Army, but they were both like real big into aviation, right? So when my dad came out of the military, he started doing aircraft maintenance and repair, and then my uncle, he went on to work for the FAA. Running air traffic control towers all over the world, really, for the FAA. And so when I was like 5 years old, we flew, because my mom and dad both worked for Eastern Airlines at the time, right? So when my dad was starting his first business, he worked at Eastern Airlines during the day, and then he ran his business at night. My uncle was doing air traffic control towers. So my uncle got stationed out in Juneau, Alaska, to do an air traffic control tower for the FAA. And so we flew to Alaska when I was like 5 years old. And I took all these pictures, and when I went back to the hood, I was selling people the ability to look at my pictures from Alaska. My parents tell the story all the time.
That's wild.
But 'cause I grew up in, now it's called Miami Gardens, back then it was Carroll City. Shout out to Carroll City, Murder Gardens as they call it now. But I grew up in a place in the neighborhood right behind the Matchbox Projects. So the Matchbox Projects was right off of like between 37th and 32nd Ave. And so I grew up right there on 196 Lane and 37th Ave. And so I would be right there, and I was standing outside of the house in the driveway, and I had we went to the, that's back when, you had to go get the pictures developed and all that. And so I had a photo album, and it was me with like all the Eskimo kids and pictures of black bears and berries on the trees. And I would charge people like $1 to look at my pictures of that. And then the second business endeavor that I got into was, people that know Miami Gardens, what Miami Gardens is known for now is the Dolphin Stadium. So we just had F1 this past weekend, we had Super Bowl, all those different things. So when the stadium was first built, and like, I want to say the stadium got built in like, it was probably like 87, 88 was when the stadium was built. So they didn't really have parking. And like, people who didn't want to park on the stadium property, they would park in the hood. And so we would charge people, and we would tell them, hey, you pay us $20, I'll watch your car for the night. So we would charge them to park right there in Cherry Bay, because that was the thing. So the Matchbox Projects was right there. So people would know, like, if you parked in Cherry Bay and like you ain't know what it was, like you might come back and your car won't be there after the game, or it's going to be a little different than you left it. So I was one of the kids that they would pay us $20, $30, and we would sit out there and watch the cars. So those were my first ventures into entrepreneurship.
Yeah, that one is cold. That last one in the parking lot, that's cool.
Oh yeah, no. Everybody know. Even today, it's still a thing.
Yeah, I know.
Like you go to, if Super Bowl's in Miami and you can't pay the $500 to park inside the stadium, you're gonna park in Miami Gardens, and you're gonna walk down 199th Street, cross 27th Avenue. So like, you're gonna park right there, maybe at the Betty T or something like that, and you're risking your car getting broken into.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's what we did. So you had that entrepreneur spirit as a kid, you know what I'm saying? And then you became an adult. At what age when did you move to Atlanta?
Moved to Atlanta. I don't really remember the exact age. I know I think it was like 23. I was 23 years old.
So first off, funny thing is, I know a lot of these stories, so I'm kind of trying to figure out how to ask some of these stories and talk about these things. But so you moved to Atlanta, and is Atlanta where you kind of hit your entrepreneur stride, I would say, and like kind of really dove headfirst into business? Yeah.
So the story about why I moved to Atlanta, which we like kind of laughed at, I was in Philadelphia. I lived a very, you would call it like a double or triple life, right? Where I was very intelligent. God blessed me with intelligence. But how you use that intelligence is very important, especially if you don't have awareness. So I think my intelligence was high, but my awareness was low. But the thing about low awareness is you don't think your awareness is low until you look back and say, damn, I had low awareness back then, right? So I was using my skills. I think you either build or destroy to destroy, right? What God gave me, I was using it to destroy. But for me, I was taking care of myself. So long story short, not to, talk in parable, but, I was involved, in the streets a little bit. I got deep into some things, things I'm not going to talk too deeply about, but there was a moment in my life where a lot of things were happening. A lot of people around me were dying and going to jail. And I feel like my life was just spared for me to see. But I feel like if I didn't stop, I was next. And I got into a deal that went wrong, and potentially what was going to happen if the deal wasn't rectified. There was a lot of threats on my life, threats on different things around me. That there was going to be a shootout, and I was basically prepared to go that day. You know what I'm saying? And when it didn't happen, where all the data suggests that I should not be here,
right?
I drove home that day with weapons, and it was like a very somber drive. And I was like, yo, something's got to change, right? And a friend of mine, he said he was moving to Atlanta to pursue music. I had never been to Atlanta. I didn't even know Atlanta was like the black Mecca. I was like, when you grow up in some stuff, you only know that stuff, right? So I didn't know anything about any other place but like from Philly to Jersey to Delaware. That's all I knew. Like I didn't know anything outside. Anywhere I could drive to. So I'm like, all right, bet. I said I'm gonna do the same thing. Right. So yeah, that's when I decided. I had some money from stuff I saved up. I had a couple $1,000s. Moved to Atlanta with my car and my clothes, and then just tried to make it happen. I was renting rooms. Sometimes I would sleep in my car, rent with a friend, but didn't have the money to actually create a life. So I got to Atlanta, and then I did hit my entrepreneurship stride in Atlanta. It's a pretty layered story.
Yep.
But yeah, Atlanta is where I hit my stride. I mean, if we go deeper into it, I'll tell. But Atlanta gave me my runway. So
let's talk about it, and let's talk about business and just starting businesses and scaling them. I mean, you had an amazing time. I know you as to be one of the more influential individuals in building that whole scene of Atlanta at the time, because you got to think in Atlanta at that time, this is when everybody's becoming an influencer, doing all these things, and you owned, the largest fitness brands in the area, right? So in my mind, you got all these people that now they want to be online, they want to be on the camera, they got to look good. Who they coming to? They're coming to G. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, when you look at it, it's like you had a hand in a lot of the growth of the time. So what was it like building, the biggest fitness brands of the time?
Yeah.
And not even just, before you answer that, so not even just building the biggest fitness brands, but doing it as a 26, 27-year-old man?
Yeah, I was 25 when I started.
Right. So it's and I know how that is because, I started my government contracting business at 27.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I started my first businesses at 23, but we know that, them first businesses, they don't really go that great. But my first major business, I'm at 27. So for you at 25, 26 years old to create what you created, what was that like?
Yeah, it's funny because I was just talking about this. I think I started out as a trainer.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really even know. So how I looked at my circumstance to get to the level of entrepreneurship that I got to out there, I was like, well, I don't have many things going for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a college degree. I went to 5 colleges. That's a whole nother story. Right? Went to 5 colleges, tried to figure it out. I played basketball as well. And then I looked at life hit me at around 24, 25 as a man. I'm like, oh, wow, you don't have much going for yourself at this moment. You know how to do one thing to make money. And that could lead you in jail, right?
Jail or dead, right? So
I was like to make absorbent amount of money, right? Now I did have some odd jobs here and there, but they never stuck. So to answer your question, I think I opened my first gym at 24. And it's funny, I told you the story of a day. I didn't know anything about taxes. I didn't know anything about business credit. I didn't even know anything about any of that stuff. I didn't know how to get a commercial building. When I wanted to get a commercial building, I had bread in my pocket going to the building hey, I want this building. Here's the money, with cash, no financials, no LLC. I didn't even know anything about LLC. I'm just trying to get a building because they say this is the price. I'm like, I got the bread, got first, last, and security. Let's do it.
It's all right here. What we're doing.
They looking at me like I'm crazy going in these buildings. And I tell you, there was an accountant that I met through a friend of mine who actually ended up being my partner in the first gym as well. Who put the financials, I don't know if I should say this. Fuck it, we say it. you got me right based on my cash, right? I was still cashing. So when I got to Atlanta, I was personal training. That's how I started building up my income, right? I was personal training and my expenses were very low.
Yeah.
Note to entrepreneurs, keep your expenses low as you're building.
Yep.
I was doing it just by default. I had to. So my rent was like, I was renting a room and sometimes I just slept in my car. So the room was like $300, $400 a month. And I'm on the floor. I didn't even have a bed. Like I couldn't really get a bed. Like everything was like so financially strained because I was trying to live right and I did not want to like subject myself to having to do the other things. I was really trying to be a good human being. I used to didn't think I was a good human being. So I was really trying to like be a good man. You feel me? I read my first book at age 25 too, right? I had never read a book. Like I was smart enough. That's what I said. God gave me the gift to be able to like go through middle school, look at the back of the book and get a C on a book report. You feel me? I never read it. I'm not reading this. I couldn't stomach reading, but I've read hundreds of books, maybe thousands now, in my life, depending on what I've listened to. But long story short, when I started building those businesses, when I built my first gym, I didn't have no expectations on how much money I wanted to make. I didn't have any expectations of how big it could be. I was just happy that I was able to do something. You feel me? And I looked at my skill set and I looked at my background. And I was like, okay, you're kind of athletic. Right at that same time when I was trying to be a personal trainer and open a gym, I was trying to sell life insurance. I tried to do that, but all I kept doing was all the women I was dating, I was making them get policies and they would just charge back. That was like not a good plan for life insurance.
Bad business plan.
So that was charging back. I was trying to sell protein out of my trunk. I was still doing a little, on the side, you know what I'm saying? Trying to not to do that. And I just picked fitness. You feel me? One day I was like, God, like something told me, and I wasn't even big in my faith back then, but I just knew there was something that I had to go all in on one thing without any expectation. I chose health and wellness. I said, no matter what, this is going to take care of me. And I just went all in. But like I said, the feeling around building those things and then starting to see them get bigger, for my entrepreneurship journey, every level kind of opened itself because I didn't understand business with like beginning with the end in mind. I just wanted to make something of myself. Right. And then I started to learn business as I went. But I was, like I said, God blessed me with natural intelligence, so it wasn't really hard for me to start to decipher how this needs to work because it reminded me of things I did. It's operation, That's crazy.
So you built those businesses,
right?
Had the ups and downs that come with entrepreneurship, like we all do. And then now, this next, I'd say, phase of business, what are you doing in this next phase of your business life?
Well, to scale it back, I opened the first studio. And then I started learning about the digital space and self-studying on digital advertising. I self-studied everything that I learned, marketing, advertising, how do you acquire customers. I started just studying that stuff, studying personal development. I was like always reading, always listening. Opened up the bigger facility, which became one of the most notable wellness facilities in the country, people flying in, which I ended up selling that to other partners in 2022, 2023, and I got out of the business. And where I'm at, so a lot of those things, and in the meantime, I built probably one of the largest online health and wellness apps and fitness programs in the country, and on the internet to this day, still standing. 10 years in. So all those things were happening, and then like I said, when I made my first $1 million, I didn't even know I made it. Like I didn't even know that it had came because I was just like busy doing the thing. Like I kind of knew. I looked at the numbers, but it wasn't like, oh man, like you planned to make $1 million. It was just like.
So it's like, so then if that was the case, and you never really had a time to like stop and enjoy it. Like,
no,
I just
made
it
was big.
It was just going.
It happened in 6 months. So it was like I was doing a lot of stuff. Like I started making six figures I was making like $15K a month. $20K a month as a personal trainer because I started learning operations and systems. And I learned like my training was very systematic. And I used to tell people, I don't try to have the best burpee. I'm not trying to have the best curl. I need the best system to optimize my time on an hourly basis. And I only worked like 5-6 hours a day. Most trainers was in the gym 8 to 10 hours. And I didn't wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning because I wasn't a morning person. My training started at 9. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of things
had to be structured the right way.
9 to 12 and then 5 to 7. Or 5 to 8 on a good day, you know what I'm saying? But it was six hours. So I still have to say this is like as I learned a lot of things in each facet of business, but it was all wellness. But it needed systems and it needed nurturing to get to that point. So I took all of that And I learned a lot of lessons through that first point. Like I said, I'm just using numbers for context. You know, I'm not big on like income claims and all that, but I was making six figures as a trainer. Like this is like 2000. I don't know the ages. Like 2014, something like that. 2015. And then from 2015 to 2017, I started online. And when I built the big online company, we went from 0 to $1 million in 6 months. Wow. So it was like I was already making like six figures. I was doing some online stuff, and then I built RI28 with a partner at the time, and then we went from zero to $1 million in 6 months. And then from there, it's just kept going crazy. Yeah. Just crazy. And that's why I said I didn't have time. It was just like now we're, you know, because the one thing people got to understand, when you start making money, you start making millions of dollars, you have to tend to that million, right? It's not like you just start mixing. Like I asked you, people, I say, like, if somebody give you $1 million, what you gonna do with it, right?
A lot of times people think the goal is just to make the money.
Yeah.
But then, like, my mom always used to tell me, you can have anything, but can you maintain it?
Exactly.
And so money is so that's why when people tell me, oh, I just want to make a lot of money, I'm like, are you sure you want to make a lot of money? Because I can get you a lot of money right now. You're not going to keep it. Right. Keeping the money is the hard part. Making it's the easy part. Right. So to your point, now you got to tend to it. So how did you tend to it? You had to keep going, right? You had
to keep going, and then also let the next layers. And then here's the thing: my businesses, I run high margin businesses. Yeah. So like we got like 80-90%. Like it is because you know I run high margin. Like my brick and mortars now, they weren't high margin, but anything that I built online, it's cash. So how did I tend to it? Well, I did some good things, and I did some things somebody from Philadelphia would do as well. You know what I'm saying? I'm outside, you know, cars, clothes, jewelry, strip. That wasn't the best option at that time all the time, but, you know, I experienced it. And then in this next, that leads me to this new phase where I build, everything is built with the end in mind. Everything is built to sell, even if I'm not selling it, or everything is built to be an asset class that doesn't involve me, right? So that produces cash. Because I feel like if you're not selling it, then you have to build it in a way where you're not in it. That your long-term vision can't be to acquire this huge job. So
it's funny. I just shot a piece of content saying that.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people are acquiring a job. Mm-hmm. That defeats the purpose. You might as well just keep your job. Because working for yourself is the worst job.
Mm-hmm. Because it's all on you.
It's the worst job. So if all you're going to do is create a job, you might as well go do something else, because this is not what you want.
You don't.
This is not it.
And I'll even talk to you when we talk about your businesses and stuff like that. I mean, I see this man, you know, you're out somewhere and you're flying out, you know, doing this acquisition. And next thing you know, you're back in Florida with the kids. I'm like, you got to have a business set up correctly so you can have that freedom. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Where you have multiple entities and they're running, you know. A lot of people see me and they think I'm just like, I don't talk much about business online, and I never have because I've been too busy doing it. It's actually exhausting for me to like go online and then try to teach people business, like, you know, in the way that I know. So I let the people that come, I have clients, like I have a software company now that I built called Health Pro 360, which helps health and wellness professionals with the digital side. So a lot of my clients, some of my upper tier clients, they come in like, gee, I need to learn business though. You know what I'm saying? So my software takes them through a journey of learning automations, tech, marketing, and different strategies they need to go from like in-person practice to consulting online in their own practice with a lot more scale. But what I've realized is just about the business world on social media, no matter what level you're at, it could be smoke and mirrors all over the place. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just a guy I spent the majority of my career doing the thing, right? All my career actually still doing the thing. I don't even actually know how to like do smoky mirrors. My moral compass is not set up.
Yeah, you can't do it. Speaking of that, that's a good thing, because I want to spend a couple minutes talking about the true health and wellness journey. And like, you know, this weekend I was transparent talking to people about like some of the transformations that I made in health and wellness, right? And I know you made some transformations. I laugh with you all the time and say some of your best content online is you cutting fruit, not talking, right? So it's like, but we both don't come from that. You feel me? Like that's a transition that you chose to make. How has your journey in health and wellness directly, I guess, helped, if we would say, like the business side of it? Because when you decided to change who you were as a person and your moral compass and all of those things, you had to stop doing business in a certain way, stop doing business with a certain type of people. So like some people out there might know you as, you know, G the Vegan, the Raw Vegan online, and it does all these different types of things. What was that like, and why was that important, and how did that help your business?
Yeah, it's layered.
Yeah, I know that was a lot.
So I'll preference this. I said this at GovCon. There's an undercurrent to entrepreneurship that most people don't understand, especially if you're building from scratch. You don't have VC dollars. You're not raising capital. It's on you. You don't have much leverage. You are the leverage.
Right.
So I feel like your vessel, your body, is your biggest asset class. Like, you have to take care of this because it's all on you. Unless you have like a group of people, you got this big round and you like about to go to market and you have this huge, like, it's coming from you. So I realized at every level that I was going, it took another version of me. And that's just not like mindset. That was like my health. Cortisol and stress is the silent killer, right? So I started reading about these things. Like, I'll tell you my first level. I used to drink a lot.
Me too.
Yo, what you want to drink? Yes. Right? So when I realized I had to choose between like abs as a personal trainer or being hungover and my business kind of failing, that's when I started to make the switch to stop drinking so much until I completely stopped drinking. Right? When I started my first online fitness company, I had to be on camera, and I knew the exercises that I created and the things that I created, they weren't going to work with me coming in hungover and without, dehydrating my muscles through alcohol. There was a version of me to make those millions of dollars, to build that business, to have hundreds and thousands of customers, did not involve alcohol. It did not involve the alcohol version of G. It wouldn't have happened in my personal experience. So, and then there was another level, right, where I always feel like I'm called to do certain things where, meat was not agreeing with me and it was slowing me down. Nobody could tell me what was going on. I couldn't digest it. I started doing my own research. Meat's got to go. It's got to go. So I take it, I let it go. Mental clarity, I'm starting to feel better. My body doesn't feel like it's just pits of things in my stomach sitting around. I'm very in tune with my body. I'm not TMIing, in the bathroom, and I don't like the way it's operating in there. You know what I'm saying? I need smooth operation in there. Right now it's a little rigid. Like, you know what I mean? I don't think we was made to do that. I think everybody's just like secretly suffering with digestion issues, and everybody just put a smile on their face and walking like it's good.
Just pop a pill or drink some Pepto.
Little Pepto. I don't think we was made for that. So I got a
Pepto and we're good to go.
Yeah, I got a whole nother scenario on how this world is designed for us, because you got to create the problem so you can sell the solution. But what happens if you don't participate in the problem? That's what I did. I want to remove myself from the problem that was created, because I'm not trying to buy the solution. And the solution actually is going to kill you just as much as the problem.
That's crazy. It's like, because people don't realize, like, the breakfast is the most important meal of the day, 3 meal a day. All of those things were actually created by the Kellogg's and the
for sure.
And the
we could talk all day on that.
They were literally the breakfast is the most important meal of the day theory was created by the food industry in like the 1950s, I think it was. And that was created because they wanted to sell breakfast foods.
Yeah, they used to tell us cigarettes was good for us.
Yeah, so it's like, it's when I started to realize and really understand the body, that's when I was like, oh, I gotta change. Like, people look at me like I'm crazy when I tell them, like, I really only like eat like one meal a day. Like, I'll snack throughout the day with proteins and carbohydrates to maintain, but like, I don't sit and have 3 big gluttonous meals a day. I literally, my body can't. And then people see me, they're like, yo, you're like 250 pounds. How do you not? I'm like, I don't know. But then I realized you don't necessarily need to. You just do it because we're told to.
Right.
And then I'm, my father's from the islands, and I look at it like, when you go to the islands, like, they don't wake up and eat bacon and sausage in the morning, because you don't have bacon and sausage. They literally go outside, get some banana, some ackee. You know what I'm saying? You eat fruits and vegetables. They literally like eat fruits and vegetables all day up until dinner. Yeah. Dinner is typically the only meal where you're gonna have something other than fruits and vegetables. And then you got to think, in like the poor island countries, you're not eating steak every night.
Nah.
You have literally one cow for an entire family, and that cow, like, that's like Christmas, Thanksgiving, like, so when I really started to think back and learn some of these things, I'm like, damn, that shit true. And then I started looking at and talking to like my doctor and like understanding that it takes 3 days for your body to digest meat.
Mm-hmm.
And then like I was having issues with acid reflux and heartburn. It's like, well, you know, it's the
You got to raise acids. So
it's
like
the acids raising
because your body already has enough acids like going. They have acid like movements going on already. Like naturally, our body has acid. But then when you eat, you're actually even raising more acid, and your body now has to focus on breaking down the food. That's a focus, right? So you know the body only has so much energy. So the brain needs energy. Everything needs energy.
And that's what I was going to talk about next. Is like how that all ties into the mental that's needed to be an entrepreneur. Can you touch on that? On like how you've been able to now operate at a higher mental state based on, you know, the life choices you've made?
Right. So for sure, like when I went vegan about 9 years ago now, maybe 9-10 years ago. I wasn't the perfect vegan, and then I adopted the plant-based like meats and stuff.
And for clarity, when he says the perfect vegan, he's talking about me, the imperfect. So when he says things, if people are like, "How are you not the perfect vegan?" That is I.
Okay, yeah.
I am the guy that loves the unhealthy vegan,
unhealthy
food.
Processed vegan food.
Give me all of the unhealthy. I mean, that stuff's good though.
It is amazing.
It tastes great.
But
continue.
So yeah, I was subject to that for a little while until I realized that stuff is actually, if you do it consistently, worse than just eating meat. Right, because it's made of these oils and isolates and stuff like that the body has to break down. And we're the first generation that's going to see those. So I feel like maybe 30 years from now, somebody might end up with a tail. Right, I don't know. It might happen.
Yo, man, so I'm gonna have a tail.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I don't know. If you do that, you got to do it. You got to do a cleanse and detox that out.
That was crazy.
But so I went to the next level, right? So I went to whole food plant based, right? Just eating only whole foods. And then, as you know, if you might have seen, if you guys want to look it up on YouTube, I did raw fruits and vegetables for 90 days straight.
Yeah, it was crazy. And
ended up going over a year and created an entire movement around it. Now, the reason why I did it is I was seeking another level of healing for myself. I had a lot going on, a lot of deals. I wasn't eating the best. I had just gone through some stuff in an intense relationship. And also I had a lot of joint pain because I used to lift very much, a lot of weight. I was like 220, 10%, squatting 405, benching 335, doing muscles, put my body through a lot of stress. So when everything that collided at one moment, I said, I gotta fast. I gotta detox. Mm-hmm. So I started reading about oxygenating the body. I started reading about the power of healing. Then I started reading into the Bible around, how God commanded us to eat fruits and vegetables as the first thing he ever commanded, and how the herbs and leaves are for healing. And I started reading different scripture and things that all made sense. And then I realized, like the Bible even says, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. But we also have another mind where this brain and this gut, they share a pathway through the vagus nerve, right? So when I started to cleanse, I mean, my entire, like, especially when I went raw, like, right, so sharp, right? Like 4 or 5 hours of sleep, felt like I slept 8, 9.
Yeah, I'd be.
You know what I'm saying? And it was a great part of my journey because I learned how the body's DNA and our chemistry works with nature on a whole nother level. So then I didn't even eat a lot of fruit and vegetable before that. I eat a lot of fruit and vegetables now, like salads, fruits, and how they are here to heal us. And then also it knocked years off my life. Well, like I look younger now. People tell me that when I was eating the meat and stuff, people don't be really. I mean,
nah, it's funny. I was on the phone with one of my mentees today, and I was telling her like I'm really 26 in my mind. Like I turned 45 this year, but no, like I'm 26 in my mind. Like that's really how I feel. Like I be moving like that because
that's how I be thinking the same thing.
And I really do accredit it a lot to.
Yeah, because when I met you, your diet was all over the place.
It was trash.
I used to look at him like, "What are you doing?"
It was trash.
I was disgusted with you.
Yeah, thanks.
But I'm glad you made the
I appreciate
you know what I mean?
Yeah, my dad was.
I'm glad you was able to get it together, man.
Yeah. Nah.
You know, even with the health, like I'm tracking everything. Hey, I was praying, and I remember one time God said, "You gotta trade those Rolexes and put a garment on."
It was crazy. I just swapped watches before I came here, but I hit my steps. I hit my steps by like 3 o'clock today. Because it's just. Man, we could sit here for hours and just talk about life trend, masterclass. Look, we're not gonna hold y'all. Look, let everybody know where they can find you, how they can connect with you, and what you got going on, and how people can be a part of the movement.
So first off, guys, because we got time and stuff like that, this is just a small part of the journey.
Yeah.
And all of these stories have stories. So make sure you connect with Kev, and make sure you connect with me. All right. If you ever see us together, we're gonna be doing some things. All right. But if you guys want to find me, I'm on YouTube. Gee Bryant on YouTube. I have a good amount of content on there. I go deeper into some of the stuff I talked about in terms of food and healing and how it does how it works with entrepreneurship. You're detoxing your body on a cellular level. Talk a little bit about entrepreneurship in my businesses. Instagram, G X Bryant or Gee Bryant on Instagram. Yeah, you can find me. Those are the only 2 platforms I'm on right now. I'm on Facebook as well, Gee Bryant. And other than that, man, just, anywhere else you see some things about me, just know it's all real, it's all authentic. No shortcuts in my journey. Yeah.
Man, that's what's up, man. G, I appreciate you for taking some time to do this. And thank you, guys. Look, before I let you out of here, if you want to see more of this Gee Bryant and Kev content, comment below and let us know. And we definitely, all jokes aside, though, we definitely probably do need to do a real sit down and really talk about like the health aspects and transformation and entrepreneurship and all of those things. Because I think, especially after this past weekend in Scottsdale, when you got up there and started speaking about that, if I didn't realize at the time, because like I asked you to come speak at my events all the time because we just be hanging out, honestly. And then I know it's dope content. So I'd be like, hey, come speak. And then you pull up and you speak. But I honestly think after this time, just the amount of feedback that I'm getting from people, and it may be because of the room, because it was a little bit of an elevated room, but like to see how people were really receiving it and really taking some of the things and how now they're thinking about making changes in their life and their diet and everything to extend. I think we really need to really bring that to the masses. So guys, if you want to see more of that and really understand the correlations between, how you're treating yourself and how you're treating the world, comment that below, and we definitely need
to do a series on it.
Yeah, we definitely.
It needs to be a series.
I'm telling you, after this weekend, and even just sitting out, you know what I'm saying, right before you pull up, just talking, like I really see the need for it. And I know how it's changed my life and how it's changed your life. So I think we really need to bring that out here. So let us know if you want to see that. But until next time, man, thank you again for tuning in. I'm Kevin Jennings, and this is The Winners Win, and I'm going to holler at you. Peace.